Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
We're so grateful that you're here tonight and so thankful that we have some new faces joining us this evening, this Shabbat. If you would, please just take one moment, greet someone who you've not yet met, wish them a Shabbat Shalom, introduce yourself, and tell them where you are coming from, and then we'll get started. As we've had the chance to welcome one another, we also take this moment to welcome Shabbat, as we do so each week with our kindling of the Shabbat lights, for which we invite the Brents to join us, and our service begins on page 121 in your Siddur, in your prayer book, 121.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generation of Israel, who have kindled lights, so we, in our own day, be among those who kindle lights.
All
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'chad l'kner shel Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu shel Shabbat.
As we continue raising up and sanctifying this day, we invite you please to join us as we rise on page 123 for Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kireshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat v'tshu b'yavo v'ratzon hinhilanu, zikaru l'maaseh v'reshit, ki hu yom tehillah lemikra'e kodesh, zecher l'tzion Mitzrayim, ki vanu v'orta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kadecha, ve'ahava v'ratzon, hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh ha-Shabbat. Chaim.
And please be seated. We continue praying responsively at the bottom of page 124. May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship. May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness. Join us on page 136, with the singing of Mizmor LeDavid.
Mizmor LeDavid, Havul Adonai B'neiim. Mizmor LeDavid, Havul Adonai B'neiim. Havul Adonai kavod va'os, Havul Adonai kevod shemo. Havul Adonai kavod va'os, Havul Adonai kevod shemo. Mizmor LeDavid, Havul Adonai B'neiim. Mizmor LeDavid, Havul Adonai B'neiim. Havul Adonai kavod va'os, Havul Adonai kevod shemo. Havul Adonai kavod va'os, Havul Adonai kevod shemo. Lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 ya lai lai, lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 ya lai lai, ya lai 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 ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 ya lai 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 lai,
You should be feeling it. Are you warmed up? Are you warmed up? The weather outside this evening shows us that we should be warmed up. The spirit in the room shows us that we should be warmed up. The kindling of the Shabbat light reinforces that, the beat of the drum, however you find your spot in prayer, whether it's in movement, in silence, in song, in spoken word. Please join us as you are warming up and into Shabbat. Join us as we turn to page 138 and continue with the singing of Lecha Dodi. Ours is the custom to sing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. And at verse 9, those who are able, we rise and we turn to the back door and we greet the Sabbath bride.
Lecha Dodi likrat Kala, Shabbat lekabela. 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 Shamor b'tzachor b'dibur echad, Yishmiyanu Yaham Adonai echad, Shemo echad, L'Shem u'Litziferet v'Litchila. Lecha Dodi likrat Kala, Shabbat lekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat Kala, Shabbat lekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu b'lecha, ki mekor ha'bracha, rosh mikedem nesucha, sucha se b'machshavat tila. Lecha Dodi likrat Kala, Shabbat lekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat Kala, Shabbat lekabela. Hitoreri, hitoreri, ki ba'or uri, 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 daberi, kevor alai kolak nigla. Lecha Dodi likrat Kala, Shabbat lekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat Kala, Shabbat lekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala, gam b'simcha u'b'tzara, toch emunei am segula, boi chala, boi chala. Lecha Dodi likrat Kala, Shabbat lekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat Kala, Shabbat lekabela.
Please be seated. Bottom of page 145 is where we continue. Entrances to holiness are everywhere. The possibility of ascent is all the time, even at unlikely times and through unlikely places. There is no place on earth without the presence.
Yitkada v'yitkada Shmei Rabbah. Amen. Ve'amad v'rahiroti b'yamlit malchuti, b'chayechon v'yom echon, u'chayedechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'gala, ba'gala, u'vizman karim, v'imiru. Shmei Rabbah mevorach, le'olam udal me'amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yitrama v'yitnaser v'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal Shmei d'kodesho. Le'ela min kol birchata b'shirata
Tushbechata benechemata damiran be'alma.
Bimeru.
Page 146 as we continue and rise for our call to worship, the Baruch Hu. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher b'divaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhmah poteach she'arim, u'v'tfuna meshane itim, u'machalif et hazmanim, u'mesader et hakochavim, b'mishmarotehem barakia kirtsono. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, u'ma'avir yom u'mevi layla, Umavdil ben yom uben laila, Adonai Tsevaot Shemo. El Chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam.
Please be seated.
V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levacha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anachim etzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta b'ham v'shivtecha b'beitecha u'lechtecha b'derech u'v'shogbecha u'v'numecha u'v'shartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu letotavot b'einecha u'ktavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'bisharecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים
In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth.
The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice.
From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way.
Inspired by prophets and inspired by sages,
Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
let us continue to work in the day when the nation will be one in peace.
Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, hapores sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. We continue now on page 162 with the singing of V'shamru.
V'shameru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל ביני ובין בני ישראל ביני ובין בני ישראל ותהי לעולם ים בריבי ביבום שבת שבת ים בריבי ביבום שבת שבת ים בריבי ביבום שבת 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 כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש ים בריבי ביבוי שבת שבת ים בריבי ביבוי שבת שבת ים בריבי ביבוי שבת 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 שבת.
Please rise if you're able for tefillah.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imateinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומר חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר מעשיות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניכם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בצד שרה, אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, ומחייב עלתה, רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא פועלים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בגבורות, ומי דומך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ולמען אתה להיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל.
אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. Please be seated as we turn to page 173 and read together at the top. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mikadesh HaShabbat. Page 175 at the top. Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu bi'amcha Yisrael, utefilatam bi'ahava t'kabel. Utehil ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael amecha. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otacha levadcha bir'ah na'avod. Page 177. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha lecha na'eh lehodot.
Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha, Hasim Leolam. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha, Hasim Leolam. Ki atah hu melech Adon, lechol hashalom. Ki נשים לעולם.
Baruch atah Adonai hamivorech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. Let us take a moment for our own private and personal prayers.
עושה שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו
Wow. Please turn to page 371 as we pray for those who are in need of our prayers this evening. Mishaberach Avotenu v'imotenu Avraham, Yitzchak v'Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, v'Rachel v'Leah, Hu yivarech et hacholim. Tonight we think especially of James Boyle, Zachary Couch, Bob DiCario, Thomas DiMatteo, Mark Friedman, Elizabeth Friedman, Yeshaya Edel Ben Gittel, Dennis Goldsmith, Ira Coleman, Abby Cohort, George Okrent, Karen Jacobson, Marty Jacobson, Dorothy Jacobson, Shane Esther Bat Rochel, Beth Shackman, Moshe Ben Leah, Florence Sporn, Chayasivia Bat Avraham Videvora, Lori Conway, Ed Muzinski, Howard Itkin, Jonathan Berman, Chris Sura, Scott Rosenfeld, Ross Goldenberg, Joel Shemaskin, Sam Rosenblum, and Norman Lederman. As my gaze meets yours around the room, please feel free to share aloud or in your heart those you hold dear and you wish to add to our community prayers this evening.
Michael Weitzel.
May the Blessed One be filled with compassion for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit, and together let us say, Amen. Shabbat Shalom. Fire. When we describe a fire, we say it is blazing, blistering, boiling, burning, searing, sizzling, smoking, sweltering. But we do not say it is strange or alien. Yet it is a strange fire that Aaron the priest's two sons, Nadav and Avihu, who are also ordained priests, together put in a fire pan on the altar and offer to God, a strange fire. God did not order this fire, and the boys were punished in a fatal way in this week's Torah reading, as it is written in the beginning of Leviticus chapter 10. Now Aaron's sons Nadav and Avihu each took his fire pan, put fire in it, and laid incense on it. And they offered before God alien fire which God had not enjoined upon them. And fire came from God and consumed them. Thus they died at the instance of God. What was this strange fire about? And did the punishment fit the crime? Strange fire. We all recognize fire. When we know the cause and the nature of a fire, we do our best to control it. Candle lights, barbecue grill, fire pit, sometimes trash. And then there are fires that burn beyond our control, propelled by heat and wind and oxygen and the passions of our hearts and our souls. We don't know if the biblical fire in this week's Torah reading was out of control, but we do know that it resulted in the punishment of death. Moreover, there is a precedent for God not favoring the offerings of Aaron's sons. At the end of the previous chapter, God accepts Aaron's offerings on the altar of the 8th day of his ordination, with the same Hebrew expression with which God rejects the offerings of Nadav and Avihu, and consumes them instead of the offerings. Vayetze ish milifnei Adonai, and fire came forth from Adonai. What is strange is God's preference for Aaron's offerings over those of his sons. We have no idea why, because the Torah itself is very mysterious. The Torah does not tell us exactly what was strange about Nadav and Avihu's fire, or what the motivations were of Aaron's two sons in offering it. Fill in the blanks. Were they jealous of their father? Were they so passionate about their worship that they wanted to go the extra mile? Were they innovators? Did these priestly brothers venture beyond a non-negotiable boundary? The possibilities are endless, but none are certain. Let's imagine that this strange fire was strange to God, even strange to Aaron, and Moses, but not at all strange to Nadav and Avihu. Strange Fire. It's the opening track of the Indigo Girls' debut album in 1989. Hearing the words of their rendition of Strange Fire may illuminate the biblical event. Some of you may remember the folk duo of Amy Ray and Emily Sayers, known for their passionate activism for the underdog. I'm happy to tell you that their act is alive and well. They performed a few weeks in Buffalo, right? Here are the first and the last stanzas of their Strange Fire. I come to you with strange fire, I make an offering of love. The incense of my soul is burned by the fire of my blood. I come with a softer answer to the questions that lie in your path. I want to harbor you from the anger, find a refuge from your wrath. This is a message of love, love that moves from the inside out, love that never grows tired. I come to you with strange fire. Sounds suspiciously like the events of Leviticus chapter 10. The Indigo Girls most definitely read and interpreted this week's Torah reading. They may have even read further in the biblical story when at the moment of Aaron's loss, Moses says to him, "This is what God meant when God said, 'Through those near to me I show myself holy and gain glory before all the people.'" And Aaron was silent. Shocked by the sudden loss of his two sons and shocked into silence by Moses' insensitivity to his profound loss. What is strange is Moses needing to justify God's reaction to Aaron, the father, in the face of his dead sons. That God's holiness and glory are paramount, and none may make an autonomous decision when it comes to incense and fire and sacrifices. What is strange is Aaron's follow-up. He was silent. It seems that Moses follows God's lead and Aaron follows Moses' lead. When the shock wears away, Aaron becomes both sad and angry. Later in that tragic day, Moses, who is diligently keeping track to make sure that all the sacrifices in the tabernacle are properly offered, discovers that Aaron has not handled the people's sin offering according to regulation. With even less sensitivity, Moses asks his brother, "Why did you not eat the sin offering in the sacred area?" "And after all that's happened to me today," replies Aaron, "had I eaten the sin offering, would God have approved?" At that moment, we sense that Aaron, in his unexpressed grief, feels abandoned by Moses and by God. He also may regret that he didn't stand up for his sons. Children and strange fire, activists and strange fire, fire in the blood. Akin to the Indigo Girls version, could it be that Nadav and Avihu's fire represents their passionate vision for the future of their generation? And they knew they had to break out of their social framework, the theology of their father and uncle, even break away from their brothers and the Israelite community to make a statement and concretize a new commitment. They took a risk, one that no one was ready to embrace, not even God. Like Aaron, we often stand on the other side of strange fire. A child of ours or someone close to us grows up with a Jewish education, holiday celebrations, Jewish symbols at home, Israel trips, the comfort and embrace of the Jewish community, the whole gamut of ethical values embedded in Jewish texts, and then the strange fire. A child sheds the old fire pan for the new one on a new altar or no altar, and seeks identity under another name and another faith canopy. A child of ours gradually immerses in and achieves higher education with parental support, and then drops out for travel, activism, or alternative herbal therapy. A child of ours soars beyond the more familiar geographical borders, beyond binary genders, beyond our perception of normative behaviors. Our children have fire in the blood, fire that is strange to us, but not to them. When our children decide to do something different, something strange that confronts our own values, we all need to respond in love. Perhaps we are meant to comfort Nadav and Avihu's confront Nadav and Avihu's punishment for their strange fire, and offer an alternative. And we might also add to these biblical brothers the strange fires of our own brothers and sisters, of all humanity that doesn't look exactly like us, believe like us, act like us, but still remains humanity in the fullest definition. We continue to learn how to be smarter, more generous, more caring in our responses to our children's strange fires and our neighbors' strange fires. It's all part of building and continually rebuilding a world where we can approach strange fires with words and actions of love and acceptance so that the world will survive. What's the takeaway from the biblical story? In my mind, there are two interconnecting parts. First, there is a strange fire pan offering and its tragic consequences. And then there is Moses' response, directed at his only brother. In the biblical text, the people are quite helpless against God's act. But Moses is not at all helpless in his choice of words. There is a strong tradition in our biblical leaders arguing with God on behalf of the people. But in this instance, he fails to do so. You don't have to be a people person to offer comfort and love when you see that it's needed. The Indigo Girls' interpretation of the biblical story is a good takeaway. They understood the strange fire as an offering of love, a love so passionate that it is fire in the blood, and a love so enduring that it never grows tired. The incense of the soul is a metaphor of that love. That's what they saw in the incense of Nadav and Avihu, which offering up on their fire pan. The first part is that the Indigo Girls recognize these offerings of love of Nadav and Avihu, who give of themselves, however vulnerable it might make them. Absent the strange fire in its biblical aftermath, deep, soul-crushing, and heartfelt passions can bubble up at any time, towards things, towards a person, towards an ideal, towards God. And they sometimes are not received, not answered, redirected, quashed, ignored. We're left like Moses, judgmental, and like Aaron, shocked and silent. The Indigo Girls are offering a gift to Moses and Aaron. They say, be like a harbor and a refuge for the strange fires of our children and for our own anger. That's the second part. I'd like to imagine that we can see Nadav and Avihu both in the enveloping holy presence of Aaron and Moses, their father and uncle, reaching out and up to God with a fire that God embraces. In the same way, when someone we love opens up, reaches out, shares a passion, let us listen carefully, however strange. Let us respond to the relationship and not to the strange fire. Eventually, and with patience, we pray that our feelings of compassion and love will overcome all strangeness. Shabbat Shalom. We now begin to conclude our service with the Aleinu on page 586. Please rise if you're able. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. Tonight, we especially give condolences to those who are mourning People have passed in the last 30 days. We're in a period of Shloshim. We mourn the recent deaths of Stephen Ellman, the brother-in-law of Karen Rosenblum, Eileen Schneier, mother of Jocelyn Goldberg Scheibel, and Ita Weingarten, the sister of Neely Cannell and the aunt of Sandra Cannell. We also commemorate the Yortzites, the anniversaries of the passing of Otto Burko, Ida Brown, Mordechai Dror, Miriam Fishgold, Irving Friedlander, Susan Frischman, Barbara Goodman, Henry Cantor, Hananya Kaplan, Lynn Carrigan, Nancy Klein, Evelyn Levine, Paul Reiser, Nan Schneeberg Rodney, Gloria Sarakin, Henrietta Schester, Boris Schneeberg, Stacy Schwartz Shepard, and Susan Spector. Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be a blessing. Also, does anyone else like to offer a name and share with our community prayer of Kaddish? Are there any other names to add? Thank you. We turn to the Kaddish on page 598, together as a community. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, v'yalma divra yutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayei v'yomei chon, b'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uzman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach li'olam olmei olmaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei t'kudasha brichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran bi'alma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'ramav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say together, amen. Please be seated. Again, Shabbat Shalom. We have a bunch of announcements here this evening, and so that I won't forget to do this, you are all invited to our Oneg Shabbat, and I hope all of us will come, and please especially welcome our guests who are here for the first time tonight to join us afterwards. A few announcements. Tomorrow morning, 9:15 a.m., Torah study, Shabbat morning service at 10:30 a.m. On Sunday, there is adult ed at 9:30, and I believe it is your wonderful chance to go over Passover songs. So it's a great opportunity. 10:30 is adult Hebrew class. Friday, April 5th, Erev Shabbat service with birthday blessings, and 5th grade is leading it, followed by dinner with friends, and featuring an NTID theater tour, Sunshine 2.0. So it's a service not to be missed. Saturday, April 6th, again, Torah study at 9:15 a.m., Shabbat morning service with the bar mitzvah of David Chekhov Lusignan, the son of Susan Chekhov Lusignan and Charles Lusignan, at 10:30 a.m. Please join them for this simcha. Sunday, April 7th, adult ed at 9:30, choir rehearsal at 12, and the women's Chavurah pad party is at 2 p.m. on that day. Toda Rabba to our greeter this evening, Liz. I don't know where you are, but Liz, oh, hi. If anyone has any questions, or if you'd like to greet Liz as you leave and wish her a good Shabbos and give her a hug, I'm sure she would love that as well. Thank you, Liz. Mazel tov to Bob and Marilyn Israel on the engagement of their son, Michael Samuel, to Jerry Michelle Album. And a few other ones. Anyone interested in joining the Social Action Committee, please contact the office, or Abby, who's here tonight. Anyone interested in joining the Israel Shabbat Choir, you have also a connection here. Our next family Shabbat service and dinner with friends is Friday, April 5th at 6 p.m. I think we already talked about that. And last but not least, Join us for the Borscht Belt Bash. I love the alliteration. On Sunday evening, April 28th at 5:30 p.m., we'll revisit the golden era of the glorious Catskills resorts with dining, dancing, and comedy with Sky Sands. You can register online. It's a wonderful way to rejoice with this congregation and support it at the same time. Motzi first, or?
Yes.
Oh, yes, okay.
So let's all turn together. Baruch
Our closing song is Pitchuli on page 648.
Bithuli, open the gates of righteousness, open for me, that I may enter them and praise Adonai.
Just take 1 minute to express my gratitude, especially to Rabbi Till and to Cantor Braun for allowing me to share the pulpit with them. It's such a gift to be here in front of all of you in this way. So thank you, and thank you all. Please rise for the closing prayer. O God, may you remain within us like the unextinguishable fire of the burning bush, like the fire that faithfully accompanied the tabernacle in the desert at night, like the white fire of the spaces between the words of the Torah. God, may you always guide us as you stoke in us a passion towards justice, compassion, and peace. Ken Yehi Ratzon. May this be God's will. Shabbat Shalom. So, good Shabbat. Ema announcements are here. This is work in progress.
How are you? How's that? You know what? Not okay. Yeah, I did. That was like really I'm sorry.
Thank you.
this little, it's like an Intel notebook, little low spec with the $1,700 box, entire hard drive, and it's a web service for all the media.
go back and let's see. And for the last 2 years, the first 2 years, it was. We had plenty of adults without kids and plenty of families.
Eric, you head now?
It's not
Yeah.
until this
Okay, Shabbat Shalom. We'll catch up more about
started to
Shabbat with friends. Next week, I guess.
I think I have other Shabbat plans that weekend.
So I have a question about your program. My son, it's great, it's not so good. He did it. So,
It's like IGM.
they came. What's the well, that, a lot of times, one thing is true, and the opposite is also true. Okay, what's, so that was true. And one of the reasons was to, because it's also because families, as you just said, yes, from perspective to go home and make it. Everybody felt it. I felt it. So, yes, yes. However, they came, they somehow, that's why they always were constant. This is what very good. So the idea was that it was easier. So each of them was great, but each of them was, yes, one intergenerational being that everyone is something of everyone else is there. And if it's one time a month that they're saying, 2 times a month they're saying we're gonna have cocktails. One time a month they're saying we're gonna have kids activities. So that means that's something you do instead of time. And also, because it's like instead of the kids immediately being bored and then stay home, the parents get time socializing with their parents and get to know each other. So that's working. And we're saying it's great to remind people that everyone is welcome. If we're down to one that people can bring their kids to, I think it should be two. And I think we should. I think we should. We say, this is really a thing that's being taught here with kids. And you want to come, you're welcome, but don't expect anything. But for the first 2 years, there were activities the kids were dancing, karate, things that engage people in different areas. When if we were to say, it's a family night, everyone is welcome, all are welcome on the bottom, and the activity is going to be a discussion about anti-Semitism. People with 4-year-olds would say, that's not for me. So that's also not English. Correct. But the older people actually don't want the activities. The older people want to sit down. No, that's not true. It depends on the activities. We had a great time with the movie tree. We had a blast with it. Oh, 2.5 tables. The rest of the tables. Well, those are 2.5 tables that had next stage of that. But I'm just saying, there's, people are anxious to be able to come together. So when you have something in the middle of that, it's supposed to be here and they show this up. Legos are consolidated for little kids and the activities planting celery seeds. That does not say to a perspective member, we have a lot of them who don't have kids or we try to build it that right? Just like the building as being a discussion of anti-Semitism, things like that. Why not both? Why not both?
Thanks for the book. It was a good idea.
What's your name?
And you're,
And you're right.
yeah, you joined about 6 weeks ago.
Nice to meet you. I'm
Yeah,
Liz
so
Winston.
I figured that out.
Okay.
Thanks so much, Jules.
Laura.
And
Nice to have you.
yeah, I'm a little psyched about joining. So.
That's wonderful.
And I came back to Rochester after 30-some years, and then it took like a year and I went to different temples, temple shopping. And then I realized I came to this one like 4 or 5 times, and that says, that's telling me something, right?
We have a special thing going.
Special thing, yeah. But like,
I don't either. And so I hear you say though, even though you're saying you can see that it's in the war, I hear an actual layer of protection. And it's funny to me because I don't have protection. But they did. By the way, did not generate the invitation. They took me by surprise. That was Esther and Susan. I saw it when it came to snippets, and I know, in fact, I was quite cautious about it because I've gotten this business so many times when I suggested, also, mine is hysterical. That's for the kids and not for the adults. I know that's a problem.
So on those ends, we're not saying that we're concerned that there's an event that's not for your families, because we're aware that most, for me, I can actually agree with you and disagree.
Okay.
I have one million. I have no problem. You can be told
The young man is yeah, the young man is very superior. If we make the first one that's intended, families with kids, it's fine. Then they'll pretend it's intergenerational.
But I don't see why it can't be intergenerational. The only challenge is having the adults say, we get it, we can sit and shoot and talk as much as we want, we just won't shush the kids. That's the only difference. They don't
I have to tell you, all these years I never heard anybody complaining that kids were being sorry. I agree with Saturn, but this is the first one I've heard. I've been doing it for years. All of a sudden. I really, if you want to go, the whole kids to come, the kids are already gone. Listen, we can't do this. He's the first, something fine, Mr. Rocket. Call,
We're not agreeing because you're jumping to a conclusion. Hello, I am shocked.
wasn't interested.
Oh, yes. And then we spoke about you actually. I love class.
And Arnold just gave us a little bit before.
I know she was
I
there.
know, I
And
was like,
she showed up.
Oh, you showed up?
glamour shots.
Yeah, I know.
I
They
was
have
like,
philosophical
they
issues.
did glamour shots at the mall. When my dad got us.
He's just beautiful. Yeah, makes me
Yes,
look
it's nice
younger.
to see you, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
No, we're not mad.
all I'm saying is that I it's an introduction favor either one. In other words, adults shouldn't be told to take a backseat so the kids won't be. Kids shouldn't be told to take a backseat so the adults won't. It is intergenerational, but it's not. In fact, we should do it. We have two adult things. Let's have two kids things. Not much. Two adult things. I advertising the word tolerance and that invites adults. Then it should be.
I actually agree with the original thesis or theory that things need intergeneration.
And that's why the activities were designed. Usually it's the kids who do things really fancy. But it was something that was coded up. They weren't making edible toys. You don't simply around. Okay?
And it's okay if there's an activity for kids, because adults don't need an activity. Adults can
Well,
sit
I
down
know.
and
That's why he
Yes,
didn't.
yes, yes.
That's why he didn't. That's why he didn't get your advice because it did have a good reason. It did.
So it's the activities that are fun.
It's partially the activities and partially the different. It's a combination. And what's wrong with saying, okay, Francine's over here, and what do we think? We'll have a discussion about whatever, go ahead and have it. And happy to play both.
The only challenge with that is the same thing. Maybe it's you, it's not listening to me.
That adults are going to shush kids.
Yes, that the adults are saying, stop running around and shush. When that's the piece where we need to get them on board. It's intergenerational, which means the kids are going to have activities so that they don't run around vibration. But they're going to be fun.
Yes.
We can have a lecture, we can have a talk, we can have our own, we can have games at the table, we can have discussion. That's great. Just keep in mind, it's
adult-oriented, but not the kids. And in the morning, they did. So, but we don't do that. All I'm saying is that I think that if in fact the college generation that offers something that says adults are in fact wrong, not just the media, not just the kids or the rest. Of course. But I think every time I suggest people say no. Every single one, I come up with a possible activity that can say, the kids can set it up, and the adults will go blah, blah, blah. No. Excuse me. Not anybody who I suggested it to. So, well, that I don't know how I was because, and it's fear that somehow if folks 7-year-olds are there, they're going to drive away the families. And in truth, you know, it is, that's what she said. A lot of older people say, it's too loud, it's too loud. They don't come, then don't come. Don't come. If you can't tolerate having kids around, then don't come. Right. Come, but that doesn't mean that we're not offering something education. It's your choice to come or not come. But the kids don't bother me. The kids don't bother me. But I also would like to feel like somebody thought that I might like to do something and not just have the kids. I have all the attention, the only one the kids. You can be there if you want to be. If I'm a new member, if I'm a retention member and I pick up that flyer and I'm an adult, you think I'm when I look at that flyer, is I can say, oh yeah, I think I should go to that. Well, of course, 3 out of 4 that are for the adults, then they're not 3 out of 4. 2 should exams and 1 are like this. But this is not just for adults. This one, it's not a heat. It would be a 90 feet. It's technically intergenerational, but it doesn't drop in because it's harder for them. Because it's a quieter one. They have to decide, are we going home and having dinner afterwards? That's late for dinner, right? Or they having dinner first, they don't have time. So it's harder for them. So it tends, even though we call it an open one, it tends to be an older one or a quieter one or a non-children one. It has never been in the past. It never was. So Pop-Up was all young. Right. So Pop-Up is the 1 month. That's what we're talking about. And when we started to look at the Facebook. Correct. So it's still, and for the first 2 years, somehow, adults were there, it was packed, nobody felt like they shouldn't be there. Somehow they came up with activities generally that appeal to. I'm still hearing you be overly protective of it not being fair, that it's more geared towards kids, when it's 1 out of 4. So I say, trying to make it clear that it's not that all month long. It doesn't have to be automatic. You don't have to say it's just. But if 3 out of 4 of them don't sleep, and 1 of them does, 3 out of 4 of them sleep. 2 shootings, and this. I don't see it. But right now it's primarily paper. I don't see that. But this year it's